Hi, good evening. This video is gonna be on how to conclude an essay. In our previous video, we focused on how to introduce an essay, and we asked you to remember a phrase called stop. Stood for action, stop S stood for speech, T for theme, O for opinion, and P for proverb. In the same line, here, to conclude our essay, we will try to remember the phrase, the word scarf, S-C-A-R-F, scarf, and with these 5 letters, we'll find out 5 different ways of concluding our essay. Before we do that, let's remind ourselves the importance of our conclusion. In fact, the conclusion of your essay is the most important part of your work. And after the examiner reads this, she's gonna put the mark. So we have to be very careful. We have to be our best. So scarf. S stands for summary of the main points or ideas. C for climax. A for air of finality. R, repeating main points or ideas, and F, future, and in future. And to keep the video short, I have thought of a single topic, the haunted house, and we'll try to finish the haunted house in these 5 different ways. So let's focus on summary. Our topic is the haunted house. So before we do that, we should remember one thing. Our conclusion can never contain any new ideas or new points that we haven't already discussed in the body of the essay. So the summary of the main points will be depending on what we have written already in our essay. Now let's assume we have written about an old house that's notoriously known to be haunted, and I, the narrator, went there to show my courage, break the myth, and prove everybody else in the area cowards. But as I go there in one evening, things don't happen the way I expected. As I get in, the evening dark outside, as you enter in, the darkness is deeper and it's colder, chilly cold. And as I venture into the inner rooms, things get eerie. Sounds start coming from almost nowhere, to point out, and very soon I had to find my way out, and I hear that loud footsteps are coming down from the upstairs, and they're getting heavier and faster. And then I find my way out and run out of the house for life, for the main street. That's it. Now, if this is my information in the essay, how I finish with the summary. So it might go like this from a teenage point of view. Today, 1 year after that evening, I still vividly remember the sooty dark inside that house, the strange damp smell, the chilly cold, the strange eerie sounds, and above all, the heavy footsteps chasing me out of the inner houses, into the sitting room, into the lawn, towards the main street. That's it. I don't know how I sounded. I think you get my points. You just remind the highlights of your haunted house story. The next point, in fact, next way to conclude your essay can be climax. Climax is the most tensed part, exciting part of your narrative writing. Wherever there's a story, there is a climax. So what the advice is? The advice is, as soon as you reach the climax, you finish your writing. If you carry it on forward, it's going to be boring, and the final impression of the examiner will be negative. So let's try to finish this haunted house topic with a climax. Suddenly, I start hearing footsteps upstairs. Heavy, continuous steps crossing the floor above my head. I start stepping back. The footsteps are now on the staircase. I turn towards the door, start walking out faster. The footstep at my back got heavier and faster. I ran, and then I heard the scariest scream of my life, and I was sprinting for life through the grassy lawn into the main street. Period. So, as soon as the climax part happens, the chase by that ghostly being, we finish. Now, the third way is air of finality. In fact, every conclusion should have air of finality, which means reading those few lines that you write in a conclusion, the reader knows without turning over to the page that it's over. But still you made it a point, air of finality. And in both the previous conclusions, if you remember what we tried to write, in fact say, there was air of finality. Let's try it again. The second one, where you hear the footsteps, you get out of that house and sprint for life into the main street, you can add one more sentence. And that was the end of my adventure to the haunted house. That was the end, which suggests a finality, and you never try it again, or you never try to, be a ghostbuster in any of the haunted house. That means that. So that's air of finality. R is for repeating main points. It would be, as we are dealing with the same topic, let's go back. The ideas we already have discussed, what we supposedly wrote in our body of the essay. So it could be like this. Still, I remember that evening dash. The chilly cold, the sooty darkness, the eerie sounds, and the final chase out of the house, into the lawn, into the street. So we are repeating all the highlights of our essay, and that's it. The final way of concluding an essay is future. F for future. End in future. Let's see how we can end this one in future. Any of the previous ways in which we are trying to finish it, we might go like with climax, with summary, with climax, with era finality, repeating main points, and then in the end we might put this sentence: and never again in my life I'm going to be brave enough to get into a haunted house, or never again I walked that way in last 1 year. So when we are saying never again, we meant, or never again I'm going to walk that way again, walk that way. So we are suggesting about future, and when we do that, it has the air of finality, and it easily tells the reader that the writing is over. So I'm sure you understand one thing, that I tried to apply all 5 ways with one topic, which was a little bit unnatural. Different topics might need different treatments, and you can use your better judgment. But just I wanted to remind you that these 5 ways you can consider, you can keep in mind when you are writing your conclusion. And the phrase that will help you to remember this is SCARF. S for summary of the main points, C for climax, A for finality, R for repeating main points, and F for future, means end in future. Best of luck with your essay conclusion. Bye.